What's going on? So I'm making a quick video on why I stopped carrying guns in Minnesota. I went through the legal process of being able to carry concealed carry. So I had a gun for years. I carried on and off by choice. I was always comfortable with carrying based on the situation, and I always understood the risk that comes with carrying. So this time, with the environment in the state that I currently live in Minnesota, shifted. Heavier federal presence, ICE and Border Patrol agents are more visible, more aggressive policing when it comes to immigration, more aggressive enforcement overall, so that public spaces feel more unpredictable. So why does that matter to me? First of all, so ICE and Border Patrol agents were kind of targeting people based on race, ethnicity, whoever they think might be an illegal, they would approach, right? A lot of these encounters would kind of escalate because people are not open to being questioned. A lot of these people were citizens. I'm not saying I would argue or that I would resist or give them a hard time, but others have. So you never know what mood they're in or how they can misunderstand what I'm trying to do. Because in tense environments, mistakes escalate faster. Carrying a gun is just another variable that you can't control. There's a very high risk of misinterpretation. My actions could be misinterpreted, right? And that could escalate that situation to the point where it just gets out of control. I've always, been aware of law enforcement, how they view citizens that are armed. And I did suspect that once I saw, how aggressive the agents were from the beginning, that these kind of things would happen. Unfortunately, right? I kind of predicted, or just in the back of my head, I knew that, well, I feared that people would get hurt. I stopped carrying because just in case I run into these agents, I want to just remove any chance of misunderstanding. Now, that's not a blanket statement. I'm not saying that all law enforcement officials are afraid of citizens that are armed and they're going to do something to you or overreact. It's just another variable just in case there's a misunderstanding or that you make a mistake even, or the officers or whichever law enforcement you're dealing with makes a mistake. Even if you're doing everything right, things can still go wrong, especially when the situation is tense, just like how it is in Minnesota currently. I'm not gonna give them excuses, man. Like, they signed up for the job and they're doing what they were told to do. But at the same time, they are being very aggressive in their enforcement. They're coming down on anyone who they feel like is obstructing them. And these are protesters. Protesters, they're going to protest, they're going to do what they do. I don't want to turn this into a political rant. The way they're going about enforcement, they tend to escalate things, especially looking at the most recent case with this Alex Preddy incident. This guy who's a gun owner ends up getting shot simply because he placed his arm in front of a police, in front of the agent, and might have touched him, right? Kind of like nothing that requires lethal force, not to the point where he deserved pepper spray, taken down, beat up, and then shot multiple times. Nothing he did should have made those agents do that. That's what I believe, based on seeing the evidence, based on seeing that video. So when I stopped carrying, honestly, I felt relief because when you carry, you're carrying a lot of responsibility. I picked up some habits from the time I was carrying consistently, and that is don't go to stupid places, hang out with stupid people, doing stupid things. You know what I'm saying? That's just like something to live by. When you're carrying, you're more aware of the places that you were going to, who you're hanging out with. You just want to eliminate any chances of anything violent or criminal or threatening happening because you know that you have something lethal on you. You don't want to engage in, altercations and fights and arguments because that could turn deadly real quick. So I picked up those habits over time while I was carrying. So now when I'm not carrying, I'm still locked in as far as like having that situational awareness so that I'm thinking ahead. But you can't really control everything around you. So I still had to think about letting go a little bit, not losing the situational awareness, but also just calming down and letting the things that I cannot control be. For people that might relate to my situation, carrying does not have to be all or nothing. Not carrying is not weakness. If you're a man, you don't have a gun on you the whole time, every single day, it does not make you less of a man. So I might carry again. It depends on, environment risk assessment. I've never seen this much federal activity before. Thousands of federal agents descending on the state, going through the city, talking to people. But it made me think about in a bigger conversation about Second Amendment. People who emphasize the whole reason of why we have the Second Amendment in this country is to be able to resist tyrannical government, right? Like seeing how this situation in Minnesota turned out, it's a bit naive to think that, because look at the gun crowd now, the Second Amendment people now. They're quiet. I mean, they're cheering us on, you know what I'm saying? But that's a separate video. This one is just personal context of why I paused. So that's it for now. I'm curious what other people think about this. Let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next one.